Alright, welcome to the very first VLMG podcast. Today we are going to be breaking down, in essence, Spotify. I know there's a lot of people out there that's really scared about the changes that's coming to Spotify in 2024, but rest assured, I'm just going to let you guys know it's going to be a bumpy road, but if you're ready for the journey, I got you. Alright, now first of all, let me introduce myself. I am Miz. I am a recording artist from VLMG, which is Visual Life Music Group. I've been in this music industry for 20 years, a lot behind the scenes, producing, camera work, artist development, production, you name it, mixing, mastering, I think I said artist development already. My list is extraneous. I own the label. And I work hand in hand with a lot of artists in my area. So that's how I became who I am. I was influenced by the Too Shorts and the E40s, the Mac Dre's, the Tupacs of their era, Nas and Rakim, and I can go all the way back to African Bombata. So I want to say that I am very well-rounded when it comes to music. I have been listening for a number amount of decades, putting in work for 20 years, like I said, and it's an unbelievable time in this landscape that we have here in the music industry, because it is a business. So first and foremost, I just want to introduce myself to people who don't know who I am. You can go and check me out. I am an artist. I rap, and I dibble dabble on that good R&B type lovely vibe that we have. I'm a well-rounded artist. But this is not about me. It's just I have to let you guys know some of the credentials, as well as me, and the significant fact that I have been known to do a whole lot of marketing, a whole lot of promoting, and a whole bunch of advertising. And what we have to understand as artists is that we have to market ourselves, we have to promote ourselves, and we have to remember at the end of the day that we are a brand. Ladies and gentlemen, we are a brand, so when you're wearing somebody else's fashion, you become a walking billboard for another person. And, that's not bad if you got an endorsement deal, but if you don't have an endorsement deal, then you're just basically wearing somebody else's brand. Whole nother podcast, but this podcast, strictly, I want to talk about Spotify. There's a lot to unpack, so if you got to, take a second, get all your snacks and your drinks, because it's going to be a good podcast. And thank everybody that's joining me right now. That means that you are taking time out for yourself to be an artist. And I just do this because I want to share knowledge for a lot of artists that's independent, that's up and coming. I know we have a lot of new artists just beginning. And what I want to tell you guys is this industry is 90% business and 10% talent. I can't express that enough. But for you younger artists or you younger producers that's getting in the game, or young songwriters that's getting in the game, there's money to be made, but we have to understand one thing, and I have to break it down in a whole ecosystem, right? And when I say it like that, we have to kind of think of how everything is broken down from an artist or from a manager's perspective, from a production perspective. And either furthermore, let's even deep dive and let's break something else down so that we can really all understand exactly where I'm coming from. So, music is a vessel for them selling a different product. So, when I say it like that, I mean, it's like you're the Uber driver, right? And what we have to understand is that the artists make the music and the labels take the music and they make the artist. So essentially your music becomes a product. So every time you make a song, it's an actual product. We have to think about it like that. And a lot of artists don't want to think about it like that, but you have to think about it like that. In terms of like Nike making a shoe or making a shirt, just really think about the brand, the insignia that they're putting on it, right? But I said it to say, artists would go into the studio. This is the process of recording for people that don't know. An artist would write a song, they would get a track, they would go to the studio, they would vibe with the engineer and the other people that's in the studio, right? So now we have this production being cultivated, and then once we have the production, the production is normally mixed and mastered. So after the artist records the song, it's mixed and mastered, polished, so to speak, and then it's ready for consumption. And that's what you listeners know as the finished product, the masters, right? But we have to think about, once you get that finished product, where does that finished product go? Because a lot of people don't understand. Back in the day, it was 8 tracks. Back in the day, they had CDs, they had tapes, they had vinyl, they had iPods. Excuse me, it's been a long time, right? They had those little mini iPods that they would load 1,000 songs, 2,500 songs on, right? So up until this day and age that we live in now, where it's completely streaming, right? It's what we know as DSPs. A lot of you older people know what I'm talking about, and a lot of you younger people may not know as far back as what I'm talking about, but it has a very good validity of the conversation. So now we're thinking about the way that this music is consumed. It's consumed differently. People are not going to buy an album for $16.99 and then the artist will get their cut out of each album. You hear people talking about they sold 100,000 albums, or they went platinum, or they went gold, the record went gold, right? And that is a lot of ways that the record labels were breaking artists back in the day. They will be able to tell if the song was hot, you know, to put it on radio, they get some spins, they get traction, the promo is crazy, you're on MTV, VH1, all of these different outlets. The landscape has changed. So now an artist is able to put themselves out on a bigger level, even you being a small artist, if you have the right budget. But that's a whole nother podcast. This one I want to strictly focus on Spotify, but it all has a validity, like I said. So here it is. Now we understand that we're taking our music and we have to put it on a DSP, which is a digital streaming platform for people that don't know. And that could be TuneCore, that could be DistroKid, that can be United. There's different ones. They have different perks, the pros and cons. You know, you have to weigh them out. We can definitely do a deep dive podcast about that. And if you are an artist and it's just you by yourself, then it's going to be a little different the way it's set up, because as an independent artist, you can just run one account. But if you have 2 people on an account, it costs a little more, so forth and so on. So what I do want to talk about is the thing that Spotify is going to do. I mean, it's just going to completely change the game. So we think about it like this. A lot of people are scared of Spotify for various reasons. First of all, they are the biggest DSP that's actually paying out, right? And a lot of people are getting a lot of money. And when I mean by a lot of money, it's actually changing people's lives, where they don't have to work a 9 to 5 anymore. They can actually just make music, do what they love, upload their music onto the DSP, and then bam, streams start happening, right? But they're making changes, and we have to understand that it's a business. So with any business, they're going to switch out the business model for what works best for the business. And I'm not mad at them. I mean, to me, it's more like incentive. You got to think of how many songs drop on their platform. And when I say hundreds of thousands of songs per day, they can even, I don't even want to go as far as to say million. I can Google it and figure it all out. But the point that I'm making is Spotify is big news for small artists. A lot of small artists are not going to like what I'm going to say, but this is the realistic standpoint. Spotify is forcing people to stop dropping music so frequently and focus on the songs that they have at bay, right? Because Spotify is going to start in 2024, first quarter, that your song has to have 1,000 streams before you can get paid. Say it one more time for the people in the back. You upload a song to Spotify. Every time it's played, you are not getting paid until you reach 1,000 streams. Once you receive 1,000 streams, every 1,000 streams, $6 in some cases, depending on the breakdown, depending on the country, the territory, and the split that you get, because we all know it's like a 00003 or a 00002, depending on if the person actually has a premium or if they're listening to it for free, right? All of this stuff actually matters. But again, we'll do a deep dive into that on a different podcast. This one we're predominantly talking about the changes that's coming in 2024, what it is for artists, and what you can actually get and potentially make a lot of money, because a lot of people don't understand. We as artists are getting paid off of our royalties, off the publishing, but mainly off the merchandise, off the shows. And man, you have to understand that you are an IP, and if you don't know what that means, you need to figure that out, and that will be a whole nother podcast. But an IP is intellectual property. So each and every time that you post on the social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, anything that has to do with your face and your likeness, you are giving these people rights to use you across their platform. So essentially, if you were to leave the platform, you're not taking their platform with you. So you have to understand you don't own that. You're making content for their platform. And it's not work for hire. A lot of people have to hit a certain threshold for them to even get paid out of it, period, right? And others don't even know that far. And again, we can deep dive if you guys like. Make sure to let me know, and I'll go further with that. But just for the sake of this video, I'm going to talk about things that artists can actually do to make sure that they reach those 1,000 streams. And what that is don't get scared, guys. There's a list of things. Get your pencil and paper, or you can listen to the pod again. But you're going to claim your artist profile. So if you don't know anything about your artist profile, you would probably want to log in to Spotify. I can show you guys how to do it. It's very simple. It's not like you're going to the web player, but you're going to the actual Spotify for artists. I will leave some links below. But create your own playlist, market your music, submit your music to playlists, legitimate playlists, people, please, because you don't want to hurt your brand. That alone is one thing that I want to talk about, and I'll just briefly talk about it. People always get these playlists, and then their numbers jump up. You know, you get 1,500 streams in a week. You all excited. You paid like $500 to be in a playlist. They got you in there for a couple more weeks, and then your numbers drop, right? It's horrible, man. But that's the way it goes with playlists. The thing with playlists versus something else that I'm going to teach you